All right. So I had to just hit record, right? Because I was talking to this camera not even a minute ago, and I was expressing a lot of details, but I wasn't, actually recording. So now everything that I'm talking about is basically just staying in my head and it's not going out there towards you guys really. And that is not good, right? That is thinking I'm being productive when I'm really not being productive. I'm just selling as being productive. And that's one reason that a lot of people fall back into old habits. You know the habits I'm talking about. That addiction that you don't want to call an addiction, that you know it's an addiction, that you know what I'm talking about, right? That and more. Anything outside of the realm of you being locked in is because you didn't lock in thoroughly. Because every time you thought you were locked in, you really weren't, because in your mind, you were doing the little things that push you away from being locked in. In your head, you're selling it as, okay, I've been doing such and such for a while. I can do this little thing. When in reality, you just are looking for an easy way out of what you're going through, if that makes sense. It's your brain tricking you. Your own mind is tricking you because you're allowing it. Not because you want to, but because that is just the nature of it. It was at one point, you were doing those things for a reason, right? The dopamine that was coming from those activities didn't disappear. Your brain didn't just magically forget about the dopamine that you got from watching that video. It did. From eating that snack, from all of those other things. It did not forget. And every time you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on whatever it is, you get that slight spike and boom, it's like, okay, what happened? And now you are right back where you started. And the only way that I have found that you can get out of that situation is by not being in that situation in the first place. Not scrolling on TikTok, not being on Instagram, not overly doing anything else, but having one or multiple goals set and actively working towards those goals every single day. Because once your mind is on something besides whatever that dopamine hit was, now you can fully thrive. You can get better each and every day because now your goal oriented. Your mind is focused. Just how much you focused on and found all those videos. You know what videos I'm talking about. How you were able to get into that mode. You can get back into that locked in mode by being locked in on whatever that goal is. So it's really easy. It's hard, but it's the easiest thing ever because everybody has a goal, right? Whether that goal is the hardest goal in the world or easy goal. Like, let's say your goal is, let's say you can only do 40 push-ups, right? Your goal needs to be something like, I'm gonna add at least 5 push-ups to my push-up count before the end of the month. Hell, before the end of the week, I'm gonna add 5 push-ups, right? And I'm gonna work every single day to add those 5 push-ups. And I know that doing anything that would hurt that is gonna hurt my goal. So I can't do those things because they're gonna take away from my goal. So now you're focused on that goal and you're pushing away that overload of dopamine. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that it's negative dopamine because dopamine is in general dopamine, but it's just that dopamine is instant. The instant dopamine versus that, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't even call the word I'm looking for right now. The delayed gratification of dopamine. That is the best dopamine you could possibly have. That feeling where you didn't do it and now you can just sit there and be proud of yourself for not doing it, and your day is just that much better because you didn't do it. And then there's the flip side where you did it and now you're like, okay, what am I? I'm a disgrace. And ultimately it's gonna happen, right? You're gonna fall back into it. Like, it's almost 100% chance that you do fall back into it. The biggest thing is that once you do not allow your mindset to continue down the path of being in it. Because once you do that, that's where you really fall back into it. The trap, right, The trap is you trip into the trap, right? And now you have this split second to decide, am I gonna stay in here and allow the trap to consume me? Or am I gonna climb up out of this trap or find a way to climb up out of this trap, right? And in this instance is getting up, getting your mind back right, not falling into those habits again, like slacking off, not doing what you said you were gonna do, and actually getting things done. Get stuff done. Don't complain. Because you notice how every little thing starts feeling like a huge burden once you go back into that point, right? So now in your mind, you have to be like, okay, this has to get done. This is going to get done. This is going to get done. I'm not going to do this, because that is the way that you're going to push your mind back into this focus mode. And now you set those goals. You set those goals to allow you to eradicate those old dopamine hits that you had just got, right? So that is the best possible way that I have that you can pull yourself out of that outcome and just not being, the best you possible, right? And honestly, I'm still going through it myself. Like there are days. I have my days. Everybody has their days. We are human. That's another big thing. You are a human being. You're not a robot. You're not superhuman. You're not none of that. You are a human being. Right? You react and you see things. You have thoughts. You have like all of these things. The memories, like I said, the dopamine doesn't go away. Your brain just does not forget that. So when it happens, it hits, right? So ultimately, the biggest thing is to set that goal, lock in on that goal, and do what you said you were gonna do. Just like me making this video. This video right here, because I know that thumbnails and titles aren't the hardest thing in the world. I'm not trying to make an excuse out of not going into it, but I know that in my head, if I try to do all of that extra stuff, the video probably will not be uploaded because I will feel like it's too much. So the base ground for me starting is to just upload this video. I don't know what the thumbnail is gonna look like. I don't know what the title is gonna look like, but I do know that the message in this video is probably maybe one of the best messages that you will ever get. All right, so lock in on it, man, and stay true to yourself. All right, that version of you that didn't do it, stay true to that version of you. All right, keep grinding, keep working, set that goal, work towards that goal. Once you reach that goal, set another goal, and that's how you get better.